Joining us this morning, surprise, surprise, no introduction needed. I'm not even going to read the bio. It is an honor and a pleasure to have you this morning. Thank you to Dr. Adjoa Asamoah for bringing this gentleman in.
Well, I got to set him up a little bit.
You set him up a little more.
I got to set him up. You got to give
the honorable.
The honorable.
Yes.
You got to give him the ladies and gentlemen and good people.
Yes.
We are thrilled to welcome to the show not just the 63rd governor of Maryland, the only sitting black governor in what's left of this country, a true public servant, and someone I proudly call Brother Gov. So we have the Governor Wes Moore in the building with us.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Sister Dr. Adjoa and Lita King.
I'll take it.
Thank you, Governor, for joining us. You know you're it when cats start fronting like they don't clock your every move, using language like character and saying where was he from, only to then turn around and state your proper title followed by admitting that they follow you. So you know that you it right.
It is a wild new world, and you know what's really crazy is that when the president started attacking me yesterday, I did not hear it live because I was actually in the Eastern Shore opening up a new health clinic in rural Maryland.
Doing the work.
So actually,
you
doing
at work.
the work.
You
know, we're actually doing the work,
on
actually
the job,
bringing healthcare. On the job. Yeah. And then I come back and they're just like, the president just went at you from the Oval Office. And even and the thing about it is that he continues to show that every time he speaks to justify something, he makes himself sound even more ignorant.
No,
right.
Like it was absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
And and to listen to him talk about how I didn't know what I was talking about because people in the National Guard, quote unquote, have common sense. And first of all, I didn't realize common sense. Common sense was the justification for militarized action.
Yes, sir.
Right.
But putting that off to the side, it's just like hearing somebody who never put on the uniform themselves. In fact, actively avoided it with bone spurs.
Here we go.
Teach.
Now trying to lecture me as someone who's actually a combat veteran about what is the usage for the National Guard. But this is our world right now.
Now, did your follower count go up at least? Because we heard that happens too when he mentions names. Did you at least? Did your platforms go through recently? All right, now let's before we get into the heavy part, let's stay right there. The service part. All right, you're a service personnel, served the country honorably. He did not. But from a chain of command standpoint, how can you speak to the experience of the soldier now? Like as even in Washington, D.C., when we look at this collaboration between the military and local law enforcement, and then this morning you hear that you have new leadership. What does that troop do? What does that soldier do?
Honestly, they are in many ways the people I feel worse for. Because they're being used. They're being used as pawns in this. I mean, and we're talking about people, and this is the thing that I think is really important for people to remember when we're talking about our National Guards folks. First, there is a cost to this, right? Like we are about to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a Halloween activity. We're about to spend hundreds of millions of dollars that could be actually used towards addressing public safety, actually used towards making communities safer. And we're about to use it as a distraction ploy.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the thing then, and the thing that also really gets me about it is just the human toll is that these are citizen soldiers.
Right.
These are people who actually have other jobs, but these are people who have chosen to raise their hands. These are people, whether they are teachers, whether they are fighter fighters, whether they work for the federal government, whether they are working a small business.
Right.
These are people who have just said, I am willing to raise my hand and put my life on the line if necessary, because the state needs me in times of emergencies or in times of crises. But they do it with a faith, right? It's the same thing. When I wore the uniform, I did it with a faith that the commander in chief was going to honor my service wisely.
Right.
And was going to make sure that I and my family were protected if it came to a situation where my service was required or necessary. And so for so many of these National Guardsmen who are now patrolling streets that many of them don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Now taking on a mission that many of them don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And in many ways really are being used.
Right.
By this incredibly performative and reckless decision. The people who I just really feel worse for in this moment, it's these folks in the Guard.
And they're put in harm's way
right,
as well.
Right.
And they're put in harm's way. And you really have to ask them for what? It goes back to the idea that when there are real crises,
correct,
and real emergencies, that they now are on deployment orders, so they cannot respond.
Right.
And I take this so seriously as the commander-in-chief of the Maryland National Guard, where there are moments, and there have been moments that I have had to make the very heavy decision to activate our National Guard because I felt like there was a real moment of crisis that our state was facing, whether it's natural disasters where lives were on the line, whether it was the utilization of members of the Maryland National Guard and Maryland Air Guard who are extraordinary, who had to deploy overseas for missions overseas. But this is a very weighty decision that I make because every time I put my signature on that paper,
right,
I know that these are families that I'm talking about.
Right.
And individual public servants who I'm talking about. And I just wish that the President of the United States understood the weight and the gravity of what he was doing.
And keeping with the purpose, Governor Moore, I am in the nation's capital. And while I obviously, like others, want to feel safe, candidly, I don't feel safer since Section 740 of the Home Rule Act was invoked and the National Guard was deployed to police the district. Is this some new function of the National Guard that we don't know about? It's like, is that their new job? I mean, I know they train on common sense, but is that the new function? To police local?
If it is, it's a new one that I don't know.
Okay, you serve.
Yes. And here's the thing, here's how we are trained, right? When I joined the Army, I was 17 years old when I joined the Army, right? And when I joined the Army, we were trained specifically. We are being trained to fight and win our nation's wars, right? That's how I was trained. The members of our National Guard, they are trained to respond in times of crises and emergencies under the authority of the commander-in-chief, which in Maryland is me, right? That's how they are trained. They are not trained to perform municipal policing functions. They're not trained to go give out parking tickets. They are not trained to go analyze theft in a municipal neighborhood. This is not how they are trained. And so to put them out there, not only is it showing that you actually don't understand what they do, and you don't understand their training. You are using this as a ploy because there's a fetish that he has about people in uniforms with big guns.
Yes.
So how have you been able to verifiably make significant gains on the public safety front without deploying the National Guard? You're doing it. So how are you doing it without deploying the National Guard, but apparently that won't work here?
And that's what I said. I've said to the president. I said, if you really want to understand public safety, look at what we've done in Maryland in the past 2.5 years. We have Maryland. When I first came on board, Maryland for 8 straight years before I became the governor, Maryland saw the homicide rate nearly double. The non-fatal shooting rate in Maryland did double. Baltimore City went 8 straight years of 300 plus homicides. In 2002, the year before I became the governor, Baltimore was averaging almost a homicide a day.
Yeah,
right?
I remember those times.
Crazy times and crazy numbers, heartbreaking numbers. And so what we did was when we came on board, I said we were going to change things up. We're going to actually start working with the local community, working with the mayor and Brandon Scott, who is a fantastic partner with me inside this work, being able to work with local law enforcement and actually get resources that they need, but also say that we need law enforcement that moves with appropriate intensity and absolute integrity and full accountability, being able to work with our community groups and community violence interruption and community violence intervention groups, because so much of the violence is retaliatory. It's like, you know what, King, if you get me, now my people are going to get 3 of your people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so retaliation that goes on with so much of the violence that we are seeing. And so we decided to invest in the things that we know that actually works. And now what has happened is this: over the past 2.5 years, Maryland has had amongst the fastest drops in homicides and non-fatal shootings anywhere in the entire country. The last time the homicide rate was this low in Baltimore City, I was not born yet. We're talking about 50-year lows.
Receipts.
And so that's right. So if the president really wants to have an honest conversation about public
can he
safety,
just ask?
Send
a memo.
The blueprint. And Dr. Ajwa, you said it right. We did it without ever once having to activate the National Guard. So this is the point. Let's not be performative.
There we are.
Let's actually focus on performance, because that's what people in communities are asking for.
Just for the record, and then I want you to get in there. So in governor speak, you told him, holla at me. Have you gotten any incoming, any outreach? You said, listen, I've been able to do it. We have receipts. Call me if you're serious about it. Have we heard anything? Just for the record.
No, as usual, the only time I really hear from the president is when he's talking about me.
Okay.
But he does not. But no, there has been no outreach. But I think it's because there's just a lack of seriousness. They're not interested in solving the problem. They just really want to use the problem as a vessel to push their agenda.
Now, one thing I've noticed in watching some of these viral clips recently of these interactions in the neighborhoods, in the actual neighborhoods, and I recognize the neighborhoods, I recognize some of the people, a lot of the violence interrupters are coming forward and kind of engaging law enforcement, and everybody's recording, right? And so the law enforcement personnel between Metropolitan Police, Homeland Security, I've seen U.S. Marshals, I've seen immigration, I've seen ICE, I've seen alongside National Guard. Everybody's side by side, shoulder to shoulder, kind of shaking down residents, leaning on them, pressing, making these small, minor arrests. However, there's conversation. And in a lot of the conversation, it's like, hey, I understand your point of view. And then the other side is like, hey, I understand y'all. This is all weird for all of us. But it leads me to the concept of community policing. And the fact that even in the midst of this ridiculous photo op, there's an opportunity, a chance to showcase what community policing could look like. Because there are conversations being had.
The public safety approach.
Yeah, the actual.
Real public safety, people
right.
working together and collaboratively.
Because since the eye is on the neighborhoods right now, the people that are normally, causing trouble, they got sense.
Right.
They're like, we're not doing anything now, but we talking.
Trained in common sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Trained in common sense, I guess.
And it's like we talking. So, and I want to hear from you, your opinion on, if you could speak to that, what the impact of community policing could actually be.
Public safety.
Yeah.
That community policing in many ways is at the heart of safety. People need to feel that there is a measure of connection. People need, listen, if I remember in the military, we always talked about the different forms of intelligence that you have. You have SIGINT, you have COMINT, and basically it's like SIGINT is like it's signal intelligence where you're able to, track signals, track, telephonic signals. COMINT, you're able to track comms. By far, the most important form of intelligence that you get is what they call human. Human intelligence.
Yeah.
Right.
It's your ability to be able to get information from people that can then help you to crack cases, that can then help you to make sure your operations are successful, that can then help you to really understand what's going on inside of communities and neighborhoods. Humans was the most valuable currency that we had. Yeah. There was only one way to build humans: trust.
Yeah.
Governor,
that's it.
You've served in leadership in the military. You've led troops in combat from all walks of life. You've clearly governed for all, independent of folks' identities in your state. That's the job. I am a Black woman. I can't help but notice this focus or obsession with even jurisdictions led by Black executives, coupled with these hints about a plan to leverage executive authority and overreach. You asked him to holler. He did not. What do we make of this? Like, what are we tripping when we say, why are you checking for us so hard? Cities run by black folks, state obviously run by. What gives?
Well, you know what gives is that this tracks. This is how he's always lived. I mean, again, this is a person who spent his time and resources. When he was a younger executive, to pull out a full-page ad about the Central Park Five, basically going after 5 young boys, who, by the way, had nothing to do with the crime. Right, turns out. But this is how he chose to spend his time and his energy. Right. This actually tracks. Right. And so, the thing that I also notice about, in addition to the fact that, he decides to go after Maryland, and as you mentioned, sis, I mean, the only state in the country that has a black governor.
That's right.
Talk that.
And he goes after Baltimore.
That's right. Black man.
With our black
right.
Right. That he's going after LA, that he's going after Chicago, and all this kind of stuff. But here's the thing, the other really important thing to remember about all these places is that every single one of these cities and streets that he's talking about are places that he doesn't go to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, correct.
Because he's not interested in learning more.
Yeah, that's right.
He's not interested. And here's the thing. It's like, when I talk about Baltimore, these are streets that the mayor, we're walking these streets every day.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
We're always in our communities. We're always in our neighborhoods. I am all over the state. Like they call it governor outside. Like we are,
the governor outside.
You know what I mean? Like we are everywhere. And so, but he is nowhere.
Yeah.
That's why again, it wasn't lost on me, where he's taking shots at me while he's sitting in the Oval Office, and I'm out at a health clinic,
doing the work.
Getting busy,
doing the work. And so it's easy for him to go back to these tropes from the 1980s.
Right.
Easy for him to go back and say, they are running wild.
Yeah.
That there's blood in the streets. Because data doesn't matter. Facts don't matter.
Facts don't matter at all.
And frankly, for him, presence doesn't matter.
All right, so let me. I know we got to let you go, and you got a busy day ahead of you. I just want one last question, and 30 seconds or less, if possible. We're witnessing this government overreach in Washington, D.C. How do you, politically and legally, and how can we plan to fight what we're watching in real time? Is there a fight to be had?
Oh, there absolutely is a fight to be had. And one thing that the president is learning, that my background is not as a politician. My background is a soldier.
Come on.
And he's seeing.
Tell him. Talk to him, Governor.
And I'm a soldier who knows the Constitution.
Got it.
And so I'm very clear, and I said from Jump Street that that I will not authorize. I'm very proudly and humbly the Commander-in-Chief of the Maryland National Guard. So you can keep me and my cities and our jurisdictions' names in your mouth all you want, but I'm very clear that I will not authorize the usage of the Maryland National Guard for anything that I feel is not mission critical nor mission aligned. And I know the Constitution, and trust me, I'm a soldier on this one.
Governor Moore,
there you go.
Thank you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, Brother Gov. Please promise that you will come back.
Yes.
I promise I will.
Thank you so much.
Open invitation.
Thank you so much, Governor.
Howdy,
Thank you.
God bless.
All right.
Thanks, y'all.
Have a good one. Appreciate you.
You too.